a Star Destroyer. Do you copy?
As a result of your repeated failure to acknowledge our distress call, I hereby authorize the salvage of your ship. Prepare to be boarded.
Hey guys, what's up? CyberAce Gaming here, and welcome back to the Star Wars Battlefront 3 show. Now, due to the lack of news, this show will now be covering more community-based things, such as different topics that myself or the fans will pick. Today's topic, what if Star Wars Battlefront 3 had a zombie survival mode? We'll be talking about that today, so let's jump into it. Could you even imagine the zombie genre in the world of Star Wars? Well, luckily you don't have to, because somebody else already has. The clips you saw in the beginning of this video were actually short clips cut out of a promotional trailer for a novel called Death Troopers. This book by Joe Schreiber is actually part of a small series of books that bring the horror undead genre into the Star Wars galaxy. Now, of course, this isn't really canon books here. They are part of the expanded universe, but they nonetheless portray what would happen if zombies were to come in to the world of Star Wars. So this particular book, Death Troopers, to give you a small synopsis of the story, actually finds a prison ship breaking down right near a silent Imperial Star Destroyer. With no word back from the crew of this Star Destroyer, this ship sends part of their crew onto that ship to salvage for parts. Only half the crew returns, bringing with them a zombie plague, and that is where things get ugly. Now, if you want to learn more about the plot of this book, by all means, go check it out. But that's not the point of this video. The question we're going to be asking ourselves today is what would happen if zombies came to an official Star Wars game. Now, we're not talking about just any game here. We are talking about the most anticipated Star Wars game of all time. What if zombies came to Star Wars Battlefront 3? Now, I've teamed up with the folks at the Who Else Wants Star Wars Battlefront 3 Facebook page, a Star Wars Battlefront 3 fan page with about 40,000 community members, to see just what they think of a zombie mode in Battlefront 3. But before we see what they had to say, let's talk about my opinion. When I was first approached about this idea, an endless number of possibilities popped into my head. Personally, I think this would be amazing. Now, I know everybody out there is going to say, oh, it would just be another zombie game or another COD clone, but I think you're wrong. You see, being a huge fan of Star Wars, I'm open to see any kind of game transformed into the universe. Just like with SWTOR, Star Wars The Old Republic. Everyone says it was a World of Warcraft clone. Well, you're wrong. It was an MMORPG in the Star Wars universe. Be that a WoW clone, call it what you want. Because just because something takes a genre that other people have done doesn't make it a clone of another game. You see, that's called having your own spin on something. Every movie out there is based off of a genre. And that doesn't mean it copies another movie. It's that director's take on that genre. Sure, every horror movie that comes out shares the same elements, but it brings you to a different world that develops you with different characters and introduces you to new places and new ideas and a new story. And that's exactly what I think they could do here. Now imagine doing something similar to the Death Troopers book, where you're a group of stormtroopers or a group of whatever who needs to explore an abandoned ship. Or take it more complicated. The Republic gets a distress signal from a planet on the outskirts of the galaxy about some sort of plague, and they send a Jedi to investigate. You are now that lone Jedi trapped on this planet that you've just discovered is full of zombified aliens that you must hack and slash through with your lightsaber until the Republic can come in and give you reinforcements or something. Let's say your ship crashes because you see a zombie or something and get distracted, or whatever the story may be. There are so many different stories you can pull with this because, you know, every zombie game is the same, and one thing is that most of them take place on planet Earth with a zombie outbreak. But what happens when you're the defenders of the galaxy and you need to stop a zombie infection from taking over the universe? That's where Star Wars can bring us. Now, I know Dead Space does have a similar outer space type effect. Quite frankly, though, that's all based on religious artifacts and a curse and such. I think Star Wars could do something more interesting with that whole space zombie type thing, being that we have Jedi and Stormtroopers and all these cool things. And there's nothing more that I would love to see than being able to fight through zombies with Star Wars weapons. You got your lightsabers, you got your carbon freeze rays, you got your laser assault rifles. There is a lot of awesome stuff that you could do with a Star Wars zombie genre game. And so I'm so open to see this happen. Personally, I think if they really wanted to, they could make a whole other movie franchise, a whole other TV series off of this, a whole other game off of this. But they don't really have to do that, because I think they could just do enough with this just by putting it into Battlefront 3 as an extra. Maybe it'll be an extra side story, maybe it will just be a survival mode. I don't know. But I think there's a lot we can do on this topic. I think there's, like I said, a lot more they could do with this, just beyond putting it as a mode in Star Wars Battlefront 3. But however they would decide to put this, be it a new series, or be it in an existing series, I'm all for it. And I'm very excited to see what they could do combining Star Wars and the horror genre. Now, according to a poll put up on the Who Else Wants Star Wars Battlefront 3 webpage, I'm not alone. You see, in just over 24 hours, 400 people have said that they wouldn't mind seeing a Death Troopers multiplayer mode in Battlefront 3. Now, earlier in this video, I did not mention the fact of it being multiplayer. I focused more on the whole zombie genre type thing, but you get the point. With a type like this, you would probably see a multiplayer cooperative mode here, where you would fight along your friends fighting the zombies, or maybe you would take sides, and one side would be a zombie, one side would be a trooper or whatever. The possibilities are endless, but let's focus more on the results. Now, 86 people said it sounds interesting, but can it be pulled off in Star Wars? And that's a very good question. Can the developers of a Star Wars game pull off the horror genre? I think if they do the proper research right and integrate the right technology, they definitely can. Now, 16 people said, the way I see it, the more modes, the better. That's very true. The more playability you can get out of a game, the more valuable it becomes. Now, 13 people were unsure about this. You guys should probably make up your mind. Just kidding. 3 people said, Death Troopers don't interest me. Now, that is the least amount of votes of people saying it doesn't interest them. 13 votes says, no, I would not want a Death Trooper multiplayer mode in Battlefront 3. And obviously no indication giving why. Maybe they just don't want to have something like that in there. And 47 people said no, because I don't want a Call of Duty mode in Star Wars Battlefront 3. Now, this is where I get a little ticked, because I really think that people need to stop associating zombies with Call of Duty. The genre's been around before Call of Duty put it in their game, and it'll be around for a long time after. Now, this again ties into how one game cannot simply define a genre. Call of Duty happens to have a zombie minigame, and there's no reason why a game like Star Wars Battlefront 3 can't. It's kind of funny, though, how it goes. Call of Duty introduces Nazi zombies, Nazis being a socialist party responsible for wiping out most Jewish people back during the Holocaust. Now, stormtroopers happen to be part of an evil empire responsible for wiping out the Jedi. It's quite funny how these are two different kind of religious groups that have been wiped out by these zombie people you are now fighting, but that's where it gets interesting, because you could choose to play this new game taken with the same ideas, but like I said, a different story and different characters, still bringing in the same mechanics and, similar gameplay style. It's a whole new experience on both sides, and there's no reason why one can't exist without the other existing as well. So before you go and say that it's a COD clone, you should probably start looking at the detail a little more. So not only did we get great feedback on the poll itself, but a lot of fans were quick to voice their opinions in the comments sections on Facebook, and I'd love to spotlight what some of them had to say. Now, a lot of fans did have similar ideas, so I've sort of grouped the comments into different categories. Adding on to some of the poll results, there were a lot of fans who, again, didn't want to see anything similar to Call of Duty in Star Wars Battlefront 3. Other fans of the game agreed that it could be cool if properly executed, but that the zombie genre is kind of oversaturated. Some fans said they would enjoy the mode, but would rather see some sort of objective that allows you to win the game, rather than just fighting wave after wave of zombies until you die. Other fans were all for the survival idea, but would rather see you fighting non-zombie enemies, like droids or alien species. A few fans even said, we don't want any new features, we like the games how they were, and want them to stick to that consistency. And of course, as the poll suggests, a good number of fans were all for it. Now the question is, what do you guys think of this? Would you like to see a zombie survival mode in the next Star Wars Battlefront 3 game, if the game ever comes? Let's say a new franchise of Star Wars shooters launches. Would you like to see some kind of zombie mode down the road, or even a standalone Star Wars zombie game? Leave a comment down below with your thoughts, opinions, ideas, or anything else you want to say. Also, be sure to give me a topic for next week's Star Wars Battlefront 3 video. Now, this video would not have been possible without the Who Else Wants Star Wars Battlefront 3 Facebook page. They have an awesome campaign going over there, an active Battlefront 3 community, and if you're plugged in here on YouTube, but not plugged in over there on Facebook, you better click the link in the description and check out their fan page. I highly urge you to go check it out. Plenty of awesome discussions going over there, and together we could probably get some word out to the people in charge of this franchise, because we do want to see this game get made, and it's not going to happen unless the community really shows that we want it. So, as always, I'm CyberAce Gaming, and I thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy it, please subscribe and leave a like, and share these videos too, because it really, really helps. Like I said, don't forget to like the Who Else Wants Star Wars Battlefront 3 page on Facebook, and I'll see you guys in the next video.